all of the girls, gays, guys, and dolls. My name is Autumn, and I am thrilled to be your host of the first ever FanGirls Jeopardy! We are fangirls of all the iconic movies, pop artists, Broadway musicals. The list goes on and on. But tonight's theme, though you may have guessed from the title of this video, is Mean Girls. But this is for the original 2004 Mean Girls mega fans. Otherwise, you can't sit with us. Not my rules. No, I'm totally kidding. There is room for everybody here and for everybody to have fun. But I must warn you, this is not going to be your average Mean Girls trivia that you can look up typing in on Google. This is for the true fangirls of the film. So, with that being said, let's go over the rules. Here are the game rules. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. This is optional, though highly encouraged. There's a total of 6 categories with 5 clues in each. You'll have about 5 seconds given after each clue for you to answer. Starting with 200-point clues given first, then progressively harder clues into the 400, 600, and so on rounds. There is a final Jeopardy clue at the end, so stick around for that. Keep track of your scores or just play for fun. So those are the rules of the game. But look, you can cheat if you want to. Just like Regina cheated on Aaron with Shane Omen in the projection room above the auditorium. Nonetheless, get in, loser. It's time to go over the categories. Starting up, we're going back to high school. Next, all about food. Miss Cady Heron, or we can call her Cady. We'll take a look behind the scenes of the film. Of course, the plastics. And last but certainly not least, Janice and Damien. So let's bring down the game board. We'll start with the 200-point clues first, high school 200. This was the name of the high school in the movie. They went to North Shore High School. Taking our first bite at All About Food for 200. Gretchen Wiener's father invented this delicious breakfast item. Her father, the inventor of toaster strudel. Personally, I feel like these should be available all year round. I actually still have the Mean Girls coffee creamer. It is so good. And moving on to Miss Cady Heron for 200. On Halloween, Cady shows up to Chris Eisel's party dressed in this costume. An ex-wife. And y'all, she ate with this. Time to bring the board back down, behind the scenes, for 200. Unironically, the skirts worn by the plastics for the winter talent show are made out of this material. Unironically, because they were plastic. Cold, shiny, hard plastic. But honestly, the winter talent show as a whole, iconic. Speaking of, we'll move on to the plastics for 200. Karen's psychic ability is to be able to sense this type of weather. Her breasts can always tell when it's going to rain. Or when it's already raining. And now our last clue in the 200-point round, Janice and Damien. When getting a whiff of Cady's perfume, borrowed from Regina, Janice tells Cady that she smells like this. You smell like a baby prostitute. Moving on to the 400-point rounds. Let's start back up with high school, 400. Mean Girls is set in this Midwestern town and state. It is set in Evanston, Illinois. Back to All About Food for 400. Karen asks Regina if she wanted to go and do something fun, asking to go to this food spot. None other than Taco Bell. I don't know about you, but going to Taco Bell and watching Mean Girls at home while I eat it is my literal definition of a fun time. Maybe that makes me lame. I don't know. Now on to Miss Cady Heron for 400. Cady's response is this when asked by Damien to explain why she likes math. Because it's the same in every country. That is so beautiful. This girl is deep. Well, at least according to Damien. Now we can take another look behind the scenes for 400. The role of Aaron Samuels almost went to this well-known actor instead of Jonathan Bennett. That's right, Aaron was almost played by James Franco. Alright, I do love me some James Franco, but Jonathan Bennett was the solid choice for this role. I actually read that James Franco was fired after the first table read, so I'm curious as to why that would have happened. Back to the plastics for 400. Karen apologizes for laughing when Gretchen had diarrhea at this store. It was at Barnes & Noble. Moving on to our last 400-point clue, Janice and Damien. While in the girls' bathroom, Damien shouts this celebrity name to the girl washing her hands. If you said Danny DeVito, you are correct. Let's bring the board back down, moving on to the 600-point round, starting with high school. Sticking with the jungle theme in the movie, this was the mascot at North Shore High School. The North Shore Lions. Taking another bite at All About Food for 600. When Cady first meets the plastics during lunch, they are all drinking this brand of water. They were all drinking Perrier water. I just realized when making this question that I've never had Perrier water before. Am I missing out on something? Now, returning to Miss Cady Heron for 600. This word is on Cady's shirt when she realizes that she is now the queen bee. It says rebel. I know it's hard to see, but it's very fitting. Now, behind the scenes for 600 points. Though the film is set in Evanston, Illinois, this is the location where primary filming took place. Toronto in Ontario, Canada. Look, if you said Canada, give yourself a point on that one because I'm not going to be that picky. Moving back on to the plastics for 600. Gretchen states that she thinks fetch is slang from this country. If you said England, you are correct. It's like slang from England, right? And the last clue in the 600-point round. Back to Janice and Damien. Janice draws Cady a map of the cafeteria social hierarchy, like jocks, band geeks, etc. Janice and Damien sit in this group. Known by others as the art freaks. Personally, I'd be sitting over at that table too, and happily, mind you. Bringing the board back down, we're going back to high school for 800. The back building of the high school was burned down in this year. (1987). All right, I want you guys to hear me out for a second. I know that on paper, Regina is the villain of this film, but I want you to keep your eye on Janice. I love her, but just saying, little shady. Taking another bite at All About Food for 800. This was the full name of Regina George's 72-hour diet. The South Beach Fat Flush, where all you drink is cranberry juice for 72 hours. Back to Cady Heron for 800. Cady Heron had a first love back in Africa. This was his name. Nafume. Let's take another look at behind the scenes for 800. It is rumored, also in the movie, that Rachel McAdams' wig for Regina is insured for this amount. $10,000. So, this is mentioned in the film, but fun fact, I read that Rachel McAdams' wig for Regina was actually insured for $10,000. And another fun fact, I read that they bought the wig for $20,000. And after the film came out, it sold for $6,000. Hold on, because that's not right. It sold for $600,000. Iconic. Back to the plastics for 800. The line, "At least you guys can wear halters, I've got man shoulders," is said by this character. That was said by Regina George. Same girl, same. Hence the jacket. And it is a little Regina cosplay. And moving back on to the last clue in the 800-point round, Janice and Damien. Damien and Janice show up to the spring fling in matching tuxedos of this color. Purple, and they made fetch happen with this look. Just saying. Time to bring the game board down for our last round. 1,000 points, starting with high school. Aaron Samuels was accepted into this prestigious university after graduating from North Shore. Northwestern. Since the film is located in Illinois, it does kind of make sense for Aaron to be going to Northwestern because that's located in Chicago. Although I do kind of wonder how Aaron got in with those math grades. Moving on to the last clue for All About Food for 1,000. The Spring Fling King and Queen won certificates to this restaurant chain. Two gift certificates to the Walker Brothers Pancake House. Speaking of Chicago, the Walker Brothers Pancake House is a real restaurant chain located in Chicago. So who's down for a little road trip and pancakes? You can sign me up. Next up, the last clue for Cady Heron for 1,000. Cady got out of going to this event with her parents when she ended up throwing a party at her house. Lady Smith Black Mambaza, and there's a typo in this GIF, just don't mind that. Next up, last clue for behind the scenes, 1,000. Principal Duval explains his arm is in a cast because this condition came back over the summer. His carpal tunnel came back, but Miss Norbury got divorced, so she still wins. Carpal tunnel is the answer, but the reason this clue is in the behind the scenes category is because Tim Meadows actually broke his arm either before or during filming, so they had to write it into the script. I think that's pretty cool. And now on to the last clue for the plastics for 1,000. Regina plans to buy her dress from this store for the spring fling. One, 3, 5, since that's all the store carries. And we bring the board down one last time for Janice and Damien for 1,000. After Cady leaves the Halloween party, she returns to find Janice and Damien watching this scary movie. Friday the 13th, Part 2. All right, all my girls, gays, guys, and dolls, the time has come for Final Jeopardy! Tally up the points that you've earned thus far throughout the game, or if you haven't been keeping track of your scores anyway, to heck with it. Let's just have some fun. Here is your Final Jeopardy! Clue. Tina Fey based the 2004 movie Mean Girls off of this book. It is based off the book Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman. So thank you to her, Tina Fey, Mark Waters, and the entire cast for such an iconic movie. And that wraps up the first ever FanGirls Jeopardy! Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had fun. I hope you even learned a little bit something new about Mean Girls. But please stay tuned because we are fangirls of all the iconic movies, pop artists, iconic musicals. The list goes on and on. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video if you had fun, and comment down below which theme Jeopardy you'd want to see next. Until I see you again, toodles! If you're still looking for some more Mean Girls fun, head over to fangirlshop.com. Party printables with a fangirl twist. Oh, and did I mention there's a freebie?
That is so